Hi, my name is Mark,
And I'm Pam.
and we are soon to be new villagers. And we decided that we wanted to share our experience. And, we have watched several people on YouTube over the past year, and people like the Village, Florida newcomers who have been amazing to watch and just really nice people. And thank you so much for what you do. It made our decision much easier, gave us a lot of information.
A lot of knowledge.
Same with Roy and Karen, same with Gold Wingnut and the Villages, Florida. And there's a lot out there. I know Papa Pineapples. I know there's a lot of things that we've watched just because we wanted to know.
Yeah.
So wanted to start out and let you guys know who we are and see if we can maybe give back. And we wanted to share our experience, and we wanted to let people know how it looks from our angle. We're in our mid 50s. We're not retired. We're business owners. We potentially could be business owners when we come to Florida. We're going to be bringing our father with us. We have family all over the country. So it's just a different aspect, and it seems like the people that have done it before us have had a great impact, and they live in certain areas and they're different age groups and different situations. So we wanted to add our take to it and see if maybe it was a good thing to share with people to help them see what we went through, and then also to share with our family and friends. So let's start with who are we, and I'm going to pass it over to Pam.
I grew up here, Southern California, my whole life. I have two beautiful daughters. My oldest daughter, Katie, she has 3 kids. And my younger daughter moved to Idaho from California last year, so missing her a little bit. She has two kids as well.
Miss her a lot.
Yes. So I'm a grandma of 5. I do have parents. They travel full time. I recently lost my grandmother. She made it to 100, and she is dearly missed. Dearly missed. And I have an aunt and uncle, great people. They live up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we're raising our doodle, Buddy.
There he is.
Here he is. Hi.
COVID dog.
Say hello. Yeah, he's a little spoiled.
He's gonna end up being the star. I know it. He's a full-size golden doodle and just a great dog. And so a little about your career and things you've done.
I've been in the dental industry for a little over 20 years. I enjoyed it a lot, and we're just really looking for a change, and we're really, really excited to share our experience and maybe help someone else make a decision on the Villages, Florida, and make their decision a little easier, and just to share our experience and what we're going through.
Yeah, it's been a big learning experience for us, and again, a lot of people helped with that, including friends of mine who actually have been living in the Villages, Steve and Michelle, and I'm sure you'll meet them in future videos or see photos of them popping up. They moved there about 10 years ago, and I've stayed in touch with Steve. My family is here in California for the most part. My mom and dad are here. I grew up in Virginia and Pennsylvania until I was 10, moved out to California, and was in the mortgage business 25 years, was very fortunate in that business. And then we started a business about 10 years ago and been very successful. We're very lucky in that respect. And our staff does an amazing job with the business, which enables us to travel, which we've done for the last few years. So we're excited for the experience. And I don't have any children. We have Buddy, and her kids and grandkids are obviously part of my family, and I feel very blessed. So
we are truly blessed.
So moving on to what drew us to the Villages. Again, I mentioned we had friends that had moved there, and I had stayed in touch with them. And we had started looking years ago. We looked in Arizona, we looked in Las Vegas, in different areas of Vegas. The goal was really to get out of California. It's been the goal for a while, for several reasons. And also, part of it just retirement planning and what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives. And
seeing what's out there.
yeah, tried to get my parents to come with us. It was just difficult and the timing just wasn't right and we weren't ready to make the change. But then we decided to visit the villages. We did a short visit, then we did a long visit, and we'll go into that a little bit more. And then we ultimately were looking for a home and decided to move forward on that. So I'm going to let Pam start on kind of the things that drew us to it, that you liked and what you saw and what you liked when we were there, and what experiences really made you feel like this is the place for us. Because we felt it pretty strong, pretty quick.
We did.
Compared to everywhere else, it was just boom, so.
We did, we loved it. Just driving through the villages, you will notice its beauty. You'll meet its people that take pride in their community, and everyone we met loved the villages and had nothing but nice things to say. Like true pride of ownership, the people that live there. And everyone just really, every person we spoke to just had nothing but good things to say. And that really stood out to us, as well as just driving around, the beauty, no trash, people, just the pride of ownership. Everyone has this pride of ownership, and you can tell just driving through the community that people appreciate where they are, where they've ended up.
What about your experiences? What about things that you took part in, like the walking trails?
Well, yeah, we did a lot when we were there. We used walking trails. We frequented the pools because we went in the hottest part of the summer.
We did. We went once before that as a short trip.
Yes.
What month was that? Do you recall?
I want to say we went in, the first time was for a week, and it was in March or April.
Yeah.
And then we
didn't stay in the villages. We rented a place outside, and then Steve and Michelle allowed us the experience of experiencing the villages, but not the same as our second trip, which we stayed for 2 months.
Yes.
At the hottest time, arguably the most, because we wanted to see, I wanted to know what the experience was. The realtor, Jay, who we'll talk about later, he had a great, I said, I want to come at the worst time. And he's like, I want to feel it. I want to experience the humidity. He's like, well, I could take you in the barn and beat you with a rope, But we really didn't experience that. We experienced where there was periods and days, or periods of days, where you didn't want to be outside. You wanted to be doing something else.
Yes.
But it wasn't ever the whole day. And the nights were typically better, obviously. So, that it wasn't, that concern went away real quick for us. Yeah. And I'm glad we did the research. So, for us, it was fine coming from California. Other people from other areas, maybe a different experience or a different feeling about those times of years.
Well, it's definitely humid. It's definitely humid in the middle of the day.
Absolutely.
So
no getting around it.
I feel like as long as I get up and I give Buddy a walk early and then wait till the sun's going down and give him his second walk a little later, that it's manageable for us.
True. And again, it's compared to the coasts that we've experienced, both, before we were together, other experiences, it seems like that humidity, for whatever reason, in the villages area, and we even experienced that with storms. It seemed like storms that we were coming through, and we definitely experienced some storms, but it always seemed to kind of just mellow out once it got to the villages. It was never, big lightning strikes, some stuff that was scary, and some great shows, which for us, it's a neat, at this point, it's neat. We loved it. We kept recording videos. So that was fun for us, and the wildlife. So, and you also took part of some exercise classes, and we did a lot of research. I took part in a drone class. That's how I met Don, who actually is Gold Wingnut. We were watching him before, and then I got to actually meet him. He's helping us. Oh, buddy, what are you barking at? We'll share his information, and he's helping us, and I'll share about that later on as we get further on to our experience. So pools, rec centers, town squares. The town squares were so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, and for us visiting, it was a regular trip, whether it was during the day or during the night. See, it was the market, the farmer's market was great.
It was.
That was a fun experience, really nice stuff. And again, just the whole community thing, which you don't get here in California that much, maybe in pockets, but it's more difficult. There's not that hometown kind of everyone knows people, and
Yeah.
it's just more difficult to find that here, where you have to travel further away, and we don't want to be isolated as we get older.
No.
You know, we just don't want to. That's something we identified early on, that we wanted to be forced to kind of stay engaged, and I'm all for early adaptation in a lot of things. Some would argue that, but I really do think it's a good thing. So our second trip there, we were more serious about looking at possibly buying, because the first trip we really were like, hey, this is nice. And then the second trip, it was, we want to make sure we really liked it, could handle the weather. We stayed in units in the villages so that we could really get the whole experience with golf carts, and just tried to live the lifestyle. We didn't do a lifestyle visit. We rented through third parties. But shortly, obviously, we said, hey, let's look at some homes.
Yeah.
You know, let's go ahead and look at stuff and see what's going on. And we had it in our mind, based on what we knew and our friends that had lived there, that we wanted to be in a certain area. It was, you know, resale was the mentality we had at that point.
Yeah.
But it just didn't really fall into place. A couple properties caught our eye, but everything was missing something, or was priced beyond our price point, or was in an area that we just weren't really interested in. So it was difficult, because it's give and take. Ultimately, it's always that with everything. So we'll get in more into the process of what we've done, but obviously I want to get into a little bit of our experience in regards to when we decided, okay, resale wasn't the thing. And we ultimately, when we came back, we had made a decision. So we'd stayed in 2 locations when we were there. We'd stayed in St. John's for a month, roughly.
Yep.
And we found the things that jumped out to us there was the noise level in relation to the turnpike. And
very noisy.
It was very noisy in the house that we were in. The whole neighborhood is not impacted, but in the house that we were in, it was very difficult. And yet we got to know the new area at that time. And they were in the process of developing Richmond, which hadn't been released yet, which was very close to Brownwood. Wasn't in between the Sumter and Brownwood that we were looking for, but it was so close to Brownwood that we were like, okay, Richmond.
That's a good possibility.
Right? We thought that might be our spot.
Yeah.
And so, but we didn't find anything by the time we had to come back. We couldn't stay there forever.
Yeah.
And yet we kept active in the search.
We wanted to.
Yeah, I know. We did. The second month, we stayed in a house in Hillsborough. Or Dunedin. I believe it was Dunedin, actually.
Yeah.
Which I think they're very close to each other.
I think it was off Hillsborough.
Or off Hillsborough. Yeah. And we really loved it. It was a much different experience. It was a waterfront property, and it was arguably a bigger property, which suited us better. And it was a cul-de-sac, and it was quiet, and it was peaceful.
Comfortable.
Right. And then we got to know another area better and learn how to get around and what we wanted to experience. So we knew we wanted to move forward with something. And yet we came back home again without having pulled the trigger, and with timing of everything, with our business and some challenges, and my family and some challenges, it just worked out the way it was supposed to, arguably, right? Someone had a plan. And we got back, but we had been introduced to this area called Newell when we were there. Jay Parr, who again you'll meet, who's been an amazing help. Him and Deb just treated us amazing, and were patient and kind and loving. And ultimately, we get a phone call one day from Jay, and he says, "I'm standing on a lot
in
Newell, and I think you guys will love it." And so he's literally, I think he was streaming us at the time. He was streaming us a video of this lot. in this new area of Newell, which was a little far out. You know, it was very close to Sawgrass, within just a couple minutes from Sawgrass. But again, in the new area, somewhat close to the Turnpike, which was a red flag to me because the road noise, you know, we're still young enough. I have my hearing, I can hear the road noise.
Newell. And
Yeah,
and
so
Jay
he's
was
on the lot
on
in
the
Newell,
property.
right? And he's streaming us video and we're looking at it and like, we really hadn't considered a build that much. It wasn't really on our radar doing a build too much at that point. We were still thinking more resale or whatever for a timing issue because these properties weren't going to be done until March.
Yes.
But again, with the mentality of things were going quick, and this property was a water view, in the very big front, or I guess what we would say near the entrance.
The very northern
Newell, right?
side of Newell, yes.
And so arguably not as far out, but still, you know, definitely a little trip from Brownwood. And
oh yeah.
we were told that the town thing, as you establish yourself and get hobbies and jobs, and that the town thing becomes not an everyday occurrence, that it's more every now and then when people come, or if there's a special event or something, or a band we want to see. So we kind of get away from that being close to town. So we had to put a deposit on the lot, $5,000, I think it was. Not too much money, and we had time until we had to get there and do the design appointment, and she had to design everything, and we had to put down then 20% after that process would be done. So until that trigger happened, we could transfer the deposit we did on the lot to a new build construction without any penalty, or we could even obviously just dump the $5,000 and go to something resale, which we would still have on our consideration list if we found the right one. Miracle, the right one pops up. And we'd lose the $5,000 or some portion thereof. And I think we could even potentially switch lots if, let's say, we found a lot that was different, if we were to do that in a short time, because they were releasing a lot of properties in Newell at that time. Yeah. And Richmond a little bit as well, but not that many. So he shows us the video and we put the deposit on the lot, and then, you know, we continue to shop. We have roughly 30 days. They scheduled this out about 30 days. I think they told us it was going to be 60, and then all of a sudden it was no 30 days. So we sent Pam back out to Florida. I couldn't travel myself, so we sent Pam so that she could be there for the design appointment. We sent her about a week early, and look at resale homes that popped up, and look at new lots that were being released, and new homes. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that experience when you went out there and you know.
Well, I arrived through Orlando, of course, got out to the villages, and I started looking at every day, looking at the new releases. Jay would send us a list of the homes coming out the following day.
In all areas, Richmond,
yes,
different areas.
Yes, so. And
it was an everyday, like, hey, we got this list. Let's search through it.
It was a lot of work. I'd get up and I'd run around like a maniac the entire day.
True. She'd be there early in the morning, and then she'd go to see a property late at night that we were told would come out the next day.
Yeah, and go through the models and try and take some pictures.
And she went to visit the lot to see it in person, to say, hey, what's this look like in person, and what's it really, how far is it from certain things?
Yeah.
And, so it was interesting, especially me doing remote. You were there, and nothing came up. And the couple things that did come up, one of them we bid on, or we wanted to get in line for, but we were 25th. Yeah. It was, I believe, it was in Richmond.
We did two in Richmond.
Yeah, and it was on the preserve. They weren't water views.
Chimborazo,
yes.
On Chimborazo.
Yeah. Beautiful homes. And there was one we really kind of, I think, one of the few homes we really regretted not getting. Yeah. The other ones, it was like, okay, that's okay. So it got to the point to where she had to go to the design appointments. And even while she's sitting in there doing the design, I'm still pushing the realtors, like, find me something, because I really don't want to do a build. And I'm worried about budget and what this is going to end up costing. So we'll get into all of that in the future episodes in regards to how the design appointment went. We have, again, thanks to Don at Gold Wingnut, we have a bunch of photos and videos of the build process, which they started early December. They started early December, and it's amazing, these people, what they are able to accomplish. And
amazing.
So we're excited to share more, and we're grateful that you tuned in to watch. Please click the like and subscribe buttons. And we'll post, as often as we can in regards to time, and also in regards to if we feel we have enough info to really make it worth your while to watch. Some will be shorter, some will be longer. We'll also bring in other people. We'll bring in people like Don. We'll bring in Jay. We're going to be dealing with vendors as we move there. I'm going to want to get people that we feel are good, that might be helpful to people moving there. For whatever it is that we're going to end up needing. Water filtration. There's going to be a lot. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to share a lot. We're going to make mistakes. But, we're excited for this next chapter. We really are. It's given us something to look forward to at a time where things are difficult and a challenge, both in our personal lives for family and different things that are going on, and business and California and just the world today. So, but we're very blessed, and we feel like we have something to offer in terms of our experience, and again, to share with our family and friends. And Buddy, come here. Okay, Buddy's sleeping, so he's taking his nap. But you'll definitely see, we'll have photos and videos of him. So again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon in the villages. Thanks for watching.
Take care.
Love you.
Love you.